Hello, Stephan here with Liquidity with a video about the future in the German language. How do I express the future in the German language? Liquidity. First, a note on the English future tense, especially with the auxiliary verb will. So will used to mean to want a few hundred years ago. Around the same time, about 500 years ago, to want actually meant to need or to lack. So verbs have changed their meanings over time. The English verb will and the German verb wollen are cognates and they're easily confused with each other, although they have different meanings. So wollen still means to want, just as what the English verb will used to mean, but that's no longer the case. In English, we still have expressions like, are you willing to do that? Or do you have the will to do that? Or this is my last will, my testament, right? So we still have that to some extent in the English language, but not when it comes to the verb so much. It's really just used for the future tense. Wollen is not really used for the future tense other than an expression of what you'd like the future to be like. So yes, wollen, to want, is of course a future directed verb, but it's not used to actually create a future tense grammatically speaking. Some people in the English-speaking world also use shall, especially with certain persons, certain pronouns, to create the future tense. But where I live in North America, I don't think really anybody does that. So I'm going to abstain from that. I'm not familiar with that. I'm not used to that. It just seems overly complicated to me. Just as in English, where we have a straightforward future tense with will, in German we also have the verb werden, with which we can create a straightforward future tense. Unfortunately, werden conjugates somewhat irregularly, so let's go over the conjugations for it first. And that would be in the singular for the first, second, and third person. Ich werde, du wirst, sie und es wird. And then we have for the plural for the first, second, and third person, wir werden, ihr werdet, sie werden. And for the formal you, for you sir, you ma'am, we have sie werden for both the singular and the plural. So if I said, you ladies and gentlemen will blah blah blah, I would also use sie werden. Just as in English, where we combine will with the infinitive of another verb, in German we do the same thing with werden. We conjugate werden and then we add the infinitive of another verb. And in German, very commonly, I would sprinkle in some temporal adverbs. So here are a few examples of what that may look like. Ich werde jetzt schlafen. I will sleep now. Du wirst morgen arbeiten. You will work tomorrow. Die Katze wird heute viel spielen. The cat will play a lot today. Wir werden sehen. We will see. It is not uncommon to see an additional infinitive verb added, such as with this sentence, ihr werdet morgen schwimmen gehen. You will go swimming tomorrow. Similar to English, but in English we have an ing form. Werden also has a regular use in German as a verb that simply means to become, to turn into, or even to get, as in to processing to become something. I split up these examples into two categories. One is for professional ambitions. So in German, for instance, I could say, ich werde Pilot. I'm going to be a pilot. Or you could say, Hannah wird Ärztin. Hannah is becoming or is going to be a medical doctor. Notice how with professions, I don't use an article in German. So this is one area where German and English is a little bit different. Werden is also used to simply express changes. So for instance, I could say, ich werde rot im Gesicht. I am turning red in the face. I am blushing. Or you could say, ihr werdet durstig. You're getting thirsty. You're becoming thirsty. You're turning thirsty. You don't really say that. You would say, you're getting thirsty. You all are getting thirsty. Okay, now to the fun part, the future two or the future perfect tense. So this is for situations that have already been completed in the future. This is for actions and situations that have already taken place in the future. So in English, I would say something will have happened. And in German, I would say, for instance, ich werde gegessen haben. I will have eaten. Es wird schön gewesen sein. It will have been nice. So that could have been nice weather, or that could be nice company. Schön can be used for all kinds of things. That would be a good video, actually. Schön. I totally should make a video about schön. In English and in German, to express immediate future situations, actions, I can use the present tense. So in English, usually you would use the continuous form, the one that ends with ing, right? In German, I just use the regular present tense since we don't really have, strictly speaking, a continuous form. We have sort of that, but we rarely ever use that, and not really for immediate future. So I would just say, for instance, ich mache jetzt Frühstück. I am making breakfast now, or now making breakfast. Wir gehen gleich. We're going soon, or we're leaving soon. Es regnet bald. It's raining soon. Or in English, maybe I would say it's about to rain. And you can see that with each of those examples in German, at least, I would have a temporal adverb. So we have, ich mache jetzt Frühstück, jetzt. Wir gehen gleich, gleich. Es regnet bald, bald. Those are all adverbs that express a temporal modification. And those are very, very common for German immediate future. Just to be more precise about it, since in German I use the regular present tense for both things that are happening right now, as well as immediate future. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you are interested in these sorts of videos, and yeah, if you haven't done so yet, please check out my other videos, check out my channel. And if you enjoy those videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. Feel free to leave a comment or to leave a question. Thanks for watching. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Mach's gut. Take care. Bis bald. Tschüss. Bye.